headlining this session today. We have Jian Wong from Evergreen Treatment Services. They're VP of Information Technology. Jian, over 23 years of experience specifically in health IT. He has a reputation of being a highly capable executive, strong business instincts, a very visionary IT executive. I think if he had a mission statement, you could put it into words that IT must be an innovator and a trusted partner of an organization to transform its business operations. His goal and what he strives towards is lowering the costs and risks to improve efficiency of organizations using innovative solutions. So it's really an honor to be able to welcome him headlining this session for us. So please, this session, he will take us through AI, cybersecurity in healthcare. So please give a very warm welcome to Jian Wong.
Don't we love the FutureCon conference? Great conference, right? Little bit of my background. So I've been in the healthcare IT business for 26 years now. And my LinkedIn still say 23, but I need to update that. I work for 3 healthcare organizations in the last 26 years. First, UW Medicine Services, and they are the University of Washington in Seattle. Oh, by the way, hello, Vancouver. I'm from Seattle, Washington. And I love Vancouver. We travel here all the time, see concerts and dim sum or what have you. It is a great city. And the weather is about the same as Seattle, by the way. We're Twin City, very perfect. So no heat, right? We're enjoying the cool weather here, and it's perfect. So anyway, the next organization I work for will be International Community Health Services. I worked there for 15 years. And then now I work for Evergreen Treatment Services for 5 years now. Yep. Today, we're going to go over AI cybersecurity for healthcare. As you know, healthcare is a very lucrative industry too for the hackers because the high value of the data. And then we'll talk about how AI powered the cyber attacks. They use AI to attack us, right? So, and then we discuss how we're going to use AI to defend ourselves. And then finally, governance and compliance, regulatory environment, and then wrapping up. So why healthcare is a prime target, right? I worked in healthcare for 26 years, so it is because the data are more valuable than most of the online companies like Amazon or whatever, because we have not only the PHI, the personal information, have medical data, medical history, diagnosis, and credit card information, so it's the most valuable. And it's 10 times more valuable than just simple credit card information. And that's why the hackers love to attack the healthcare industry. If you work in the healthcare industry, you need to pay special attention. And then also the structure is complex. The healthcare IT system is very complex, has a lot of equipment, devices, and they can hack into any one of those and get into the network, right? So it's that layer of complexity there. And also it's urgency. Some company may not pay the ransom, right? But healthcare, they want to get it up and running because there's patient waiting for it. It can't wait. So you either recover it quickly or you have to pay the hacker. So they tend to pay more than other industries. That's kind of FYI. So how this AI is benefiting the hackers? Big time, because they are using AI for their advantage. So, for example, Anthropic's Method 5 and Favor 5 were banned just a few weeks ago, right? I think they released it for some internal organization, US organizations, but still not available to overseas because the danger falling into the nation state actors, the threat actors that are trying to attack US. Also, the people don't speak English, no problem. The old days, you remember, okay, how you tell a spam email? Well, the grammar was not correct, spelling was bad, no longer. Because AI can help those foreigners from China, Russia, North Korea or Iran, they can write perfect spam email. Looks like your boss. No spelling, nothing, right? So, and then also the malware development and also the code generation is at scale. It's so fast that it doesn't take a couple of weeks or months to deliver. It just takes a few minutes or 20 minutes to do that. And then also the available public information, large language model. So these make all the data available, and that will enable the hacker to find out exactly what you're up to. So they write the email or try to hack you, they know exactly what is vulnerable. They know you, basically, right? Now, not like before. And then they can execute an attack in 30 minutes and create $25 million damages. In the old days, they have to get to an account and get into the firewall to your network, and then lateral movement and do that. It takes days, okay? The average, I think, is 7 days or so. And so to compromise any system. But now, in minutes. And let's talk about the attack vectors in healthcare. So deep fake phishing, as we already talked about that, deep fake phishing. And nowadays, they can even use your voice or your boss voice, and they use video, impersonate make up video, and just thinking that this person, this in the healthcare system, working in the finance department, right? So they can have financial data, or working in the EHR system, they have patient access. So that's the danger now, because it's deepfake phishing. Looks so like your colleagues. And then automated malware. So those are generating polymorphic ransomware that it changes. The definition signature is no longer working because they change their digital appearance constantly with this kind of AI attack. And data poisoning, as you know, AI is data, a lot of data. That's why they can make decisions for you sometimes and answer your questions. But data poisoning is also a problem, and particularly with the healthcare agents and models, it can lead to misdiagnosis, wrong information. Supply chain exploits. So a lot of us working in the security field just kind of try to safeguard your organization. But nowadays, the vendors, you need to also monitor them and make sure they safeguard data, because the majority of the attack actually is through a vendor, not through yourself. You've done a good job. You're all cybersecurity professional. You've done a good job. But the vendor's getting loose, and they hack into the vendor, and the vendor has access to your system. So EHR security challenge. So in the healthcare, if you work in healthcare, you will know there's an electronic health record system. That's a big challenge as well. So they can have unauthorized access, and even the OCR, Office of Civil Rights, fine hospitals that let hackers access celebrities' medical records. Fine for in the LA area like 1.3 million. Well, it's 900 plus something. So, and then total is about 1.3 million dollars. Shadow IT usage. I think this is not limited to healthcare. every organization. You have people that wanted to use AI without getting approval from IT or the AI governance committee, if you have one in the organization. No approval. And you don't know who is using which model. So the best practice will be we need to block all AIs until the organization approve whatever AI we can use, then let them use it. So we need to block them. We'll talk about more of that later. Interoperability gaps. So the EHR system, if you know the market, they have different EHR systems. The bigger one is Epic, and second one may be NextGen or Cerner, you know, the big guys. But they don't talk to each other. So you have to build interface and connect them. And that will increase the attack surface. So about 62% of the hospitals that they face challenges because this patient comes from this hospital, they use different systems. So they're going to interface these systems, and that increase attack surface. Not only your system you have to secure, but other people's system will also vulnerable. Sometimes just configuration errors, right? So there's one case that they used Google Analytics configuration was misconfigured and leaked the patient health information and affecting 4.7 million people. Adversarial AI attack on medical models. So the fast gradient sign method, which is a mathematical method to mislead the imaging model in healthcare. And when AI enabled them to do that, the accuracy dropped from 97% to 41%. That's a big drop with this method of attack. Also, evasion attack, accuracy also dropped to 62% from the 90-some% baseline. Data poisoning, still lucky, because there's not that much of a data poisoning affecting the accuracy of the healthcare models. So it's still at about 90%. Prompt injection and AI agents, those are problematic. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, because they can cut and paste, because your organization doesn't allow to use, for example, ChatGPT, because that's an open source AI that will leak your data, particularly patient data, to the world, basically, right? They're large language models. They collect all those data, and they use it for their purpose, because AI getting smarter, the more data they have. And the user will copy and paste. So now we have to do that. So right now it's hard to detect them, but we do have a method to detect copy and paste. If they copy from our internal data, patient record or whatever record, corporate record, and then paste into ChatGPT, we will tell them, no, you can't do that. That's a violation. So the cost of healthcare breaches is the biggest compared to other industries. So 7.4 million average cost, and then 30 minutes they can create 25 million damage. Well, 70% of the attack through vendors, because healthcare organizations, they have a lot of vendors, equipment, software, finance, HR, all kind of vendors. And actually, it's true for all organizations, not just healthcare organizations. So we need to now start looking at vendors. That's difficult. We need to do things when we contract with a vendor. We need to know their rating, their security rating, what policy they have, what AI governance they have, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll talk more about later on in the slides. Now, it's up to us. So AI is so powerful, they can attack us so fast. And the traditional endpoint protection or firewall protection is outdated, almost useless. I mean, they're still used, but not that great. So we need to use AI to protect ourselves, which we hope we will fight the hackers successfully. Start with the zero trust architecture, right? Never trust anything. So users, devices, and the applications, they all need to be provisioned to authenticate so they can have access. You can do multi-factor authentication is basic now, but we're getting into phishing resilient authentication, which is token-based and other biometric access. But it's limited to that user or that device, what they have access in the system. Not like the old days. When they get into your network, they can access anything they want. Now it's like get to the device and the user. And then least privilege. So the healthcare industry, there's a HIPAA, called HIPAA regulation, and it demands minimum necessary, no matter what you do. From your IT team, if this person is doing this much, then you only give them enough to do their job, not giving them the global administrator, for example, right? So those are not going to be given. Maybe one or two global administrator, but anything that they don't need, you need to strip away. Same as users. If this person is front desk, they will only access those data. So minimum necessary, that's a must. And then also micro-segmentation. So when we talk micro-segmentation, the old days we segment the network. VLAN, all those high-paid network security engineers, they will segment the network and all that. It's a little bit outdated now because the cloud-based computing. They no longer stay in the brick and mortar. They go to home and access the electronic health record. So that's a nightmare. So we need to segment to the point that's single laptop, single device. That device, you hack into it, you only have access to that device, nothing else. By the way, we're going to cut them off network, right? So we have AI detect abnormal activities. We don't even need to ask questions. Just disconnect that device right away, and then we ask questions. So they will limit it to that damage, that device, whatever's in there. But nowadays, we demand nothing on the local computer. All our stuff in the cloud. So that's another area of protection. And data centric, of course, now we have data loss protection policies, but it's a lot of work. I know that you have to classify your data, and this data can only be shared with this department, or this data can only be shared within the organization, not outside the organization. You define all those so the data cannot be stolen. So the hackers, they are smart. They use AI to attack us. But we need to use AI to do our threat detection and response. Now, with AI agents and monitoring tools, we can have real-time detection. No longer we have to say, okay, we got an alert from our system, our network or firewall, and then the engineer will look at it and then study it, and then maybe get, if doesn't understand completely, get the manager to look at it or approve it. It's taking a long time. So now the real-time detection is we detect something abnormal, we cut them off, and then we talk about whether this should be allowed or not, right? So automated incident response. So AI now can triage. So AI is basically large language model. They collect all the data from your firewall, your switches, your computers, your cloud-based application, everything. And then they put it into one single pane, right? So you can see it. And then they will say, they will correlate and say, okay, this one need to be looked at. And then we can escalate it to a engineer, security engineer to look at it. At the beginning, there's no way we have so many staff to monitor everything. So they do the legwork for us, and then we can look at the real ones that need attention. Pattern recognition. AI is perfect for that because humans, we can recognize pattern, but they're good. For example, we spin up an AI agent, do things for us perfect. So you don't have to do much. They can do it, and they don't have, they don't have PTOs, they don't have sick leave. They work 24/7, basically, the agents. Wonderful. But they're autonomous, so they can make decisions, and they can, the AI tool that we use to monitor the agents, if they're behaving not the normal way that you specify them, they deviate a little bit, then we can, hey, this agent's not working. Just like an employee discipline. Employee number A, you did this, you shouldn't be doing those. You're in the finance department. Why are you looking at the other data, right? The patient data. So anyway, to kind of explain a little bit of the pattern recognition. Reduce false positive. That's the outcome. So we don't have a lot of alerts. So the old day, you receive a lot of alerts, and you just don't know. You have to look at them and tell this is false alarm because this user is supposedly doing that, right? Suppose the user built an inbox rule to delete all these data. That could be a hacker behavior, but the old day you have to look at it. Okay, when you talk to the user, but AI can tell this is abnormal behavior. So there are some AI cybersecurity tools that we can use, right? Next generation firewall. So AI-enabled intelligence identify novel attacks. Those doesn't have a definition or signature or something like that. AI can identify them in real time. And then endpoint security. I talk about detecting malware, unusual data, exfiltration, and auto-isolate the endpoint device. I already talked about a little bit before, because you can see this computer is not acting normal, and we can cut them off. By the way, if you have micro-segmentation, the hacker can only hack what is in this computer, even they got the password and got into this laptop, but they cannot go anywhere else because of the micro-segmentation. So I throw away all those traditional, firewalls, brick and mortar, switches, those wonderful things. They're still needed because you usually have a hospital or clinic to safeguard, but the hackers are very smart, so we need to do that level of endpoint protection. Intrusion detection, same thing. Traffic, identify and block those unauthorized access in real time. Cloud security, I already mentioned. So the AI monitoring tool can monitor your cloud, so collect your log file from your cloud application, your on-prem, your endpoint devices, everything. So they can collect and then put it together, see a pattern. If a hacker got into here from a computer, and next step, they're going to go to your cloud, I think, because we're micro-segmenting. If you don't have micro-segmentation, they got a gold mine because they got into your network. They can go lateral movement and access anything that user has access to. So, but if you have micro-segmentation, they can still go to the cloud. So the AI model will basically monitor everything and put it together to analyze it. This is abnormal. And then Internet of Things. That's particularly bad for the healthcare industry. They have a lot of EKG, spirometers, and they have all kinds of medicine dispensing machines, all kinds of stuff in the hospital and in the clinic too. So those things are increasing the attack surface. And some of those are legacy systems, and they don't have the security that we have right now for the modern cloud security. So that's very easy. XDR, and SIEM. So those are the things that AI can put together. You have a single pane. You can look at everything and analyze them. Well, what the benefits of AI for healthcare security? Faster detection, simplifies reporting. AI can spit out the last month what we have attacked, how many failed logins, everything that's going to be generated a report, high-level report for your stakeholder, executives, and your security team. And vulnerability identification. So discover unknown devices in your network or unpatched systems. And then skill enhancement. So now AI can do the triage and detect sort of things. So the junior security engineer can look at this from AI and then determine if that need to be escalated to a senior engineer, right? So that empower the junior engineer to learn things through the AI. And then there's actionable insights. So all the threat traffics, the logs, and to have a holistic view of the security environment. And you can scale, scalability. You can scale quickly with the AI security. So we talk about all these technical things, but governance and compliance is very important too. So in the healthcare industry landscape, we have HIPAA, and we need to follow those rules. I already mentioned minimum necessary. So they mandate administrative, physical, and technical safeguard, 3 areas. You must implement those, otherwise you don't meet the requirement. HIPAA is a federal regulation. So, and then we need to follow NIST framework to govern and map our AI risk in healthcare IT system. EU has the AI Act. We don't. US just keep talking, but maybe in next 2 years, it will come out with something. And then the open worldwide application security project is another area that nonprofit open source are getting together to maximize AI for security. And also the adversary threat landscape will also be utilized in this area. So we talk about all these shadow AI, they spin up AI model and use it, or copy and paste, even worse. So how do we govern this? So the internal AI governance is very important. Each organization should have their own internal AI governance, because you can't wait for the federal government. They keep talking, no agreement. It's just never gonna do anything for us. So we need to come up with governance to govern how we implement AI. So the best practice will be block all AIs, because AI is so dangerous. Block all AIs, and then you release one that approve internally. Say, our organization want to implement Copilot, just for example, or any other or cloud. Whatever that you choose, you only open that one and secure that one. So, so we have the strong guardrails to protect our data and the AI model that we use. Human in the loop. So the AI is very powerful, but in an organization, we need to make sure humans are decision makers. The AI agent can do their work, but the final approval or deviation must be reviewed by a human. I'll give you an example is the documentation. If you visit the doctor's office, they will talk to the patient and then write the chart notes, right? So nowadays, we use AI to do that. So the doctor can spend more time with the patient, compassionate about their issues, and talk to them, and AI will write that for them. But the caveat is the doctor is responsible to review those notes and sign off. So they will correct anything that's, because AI can hallucinate, come up with things that you don't think is true. So that's why the human must be in the loop. Transparency. We need to explain to the security team, board members, stakeholders, whole nine yards. So basically, it's transparency. accountability framework. So I know that you can go, I use AI and the AI agent did this, it's not my fault. No, the organization is responsible. Even including the bad thing is even including those shadow AI, which they did not get approval from the AI governance committee or from IT at all. You just don't know who is using what. And your organization is still liable for the information that you push out. So, well, third-party vendors, surprisingly, 70% of the attack are through vendors, not yourself. So we are pretty good. We as security professionals, we secure our organization very well. But they still get through. Through what? Vendors. You let a software company to connect to your environment to do certain things, right? So if that organization is hacked, their software is hacked, you're vulnerable. So and still you're responsible too. So we need to review the agreement, and we also need to check their security standards before we contract with them, and we need to continue to monitor them because their organization might change and their security rating could decrease. And there's some vendor now specializing on monitoring vendors. Can you believe me? There's several companies that I know. They specializing on, if you get a vendor, talk to us, we'll see how much security they have and what is the security rating. And then continuous monitor and even help that vendor to improve. So, okay, so this vendor, the identity security is not enough. So they say, you go to vendor A, say, could you improve this part? Because I found out through another vendor. So irony. So, and also the service level agreement and KPI. So how we're gonna measure them. Agentic AI, emerging security risk. So I already talked a few times. Agents are wonderful because they are basically your employees supervised by your employee. They're not supervised by your manager necessarily. Each employee can use a certain number of agents to do their work, automate their workflow, but they create risk, right? Privilege escalation. That's one example. So we need to make sure the AI agent only can access certain area or work that they need to perform. If they don't need to perform that, don't give it to the agent because they can go out and do things that you cannot imagine. Identity spoofing. So with the AI agent, so the hackers can impersonate the agent and get into your system and do the things. Of course, if we do a good job limiting their privileges, then they can only get those things. But if we don't do a good job, they'll be a disaster because the hacker get in there with acting like an agent, so you don't detect them because you authorize that agent to do the work for you, right? So goal alignment. Some agents, they just want to do their work. They don't care about patching, for example. They shut down the patching window. Say, I didn't complete my work, so they don't allow the system to patch. So that's one of them. And also cascading fair use. Best practices for securing AI system. So we need to follow best practices because AI is becoming so hot right now, and a lot of organizations are rushed to implement AI to improve their productivity, to improve their efficiency and competitiveness, right? So we need to have a AI security strategy. How are we going to allow which model to be used by our employees? And we need to make sure we have a security strategy before we allow that to happen, allow the employee to use it. So that's very important. And we can integrate security tools to AI most effective when analyzing data across entire organization. When I say entire organization, it means firewall switches, endpoints, cloud applications, and even hosted application in AWS or Azure. Even you hosted one application there, you can still get the log file from AWS or from Azure and collect and let your AI analyze it. And manage data privacy and quality. So that's important. Clean data pipelines is very important when you do have AI model, AI agent working for you. The corrupted data will just give you undesirable outcomes. Use AI ethically. Yeah, we need to be equitable and also make sure that the base data, bias data, intelligence, influence, and security decisions maintain human oversight. So make sure they're fair and unbiased. And also testing. The AI agent, you can let the agent do work for 3 months, and then you need to check whether it's still functioning the way that you designed it. So you test, monitor, and make sure they're doing what you want them to do. Define generative AI policies. Yes, those are, once you have a data governance committee in your organization, you need to define the policies, how people can use it, what the process of approval. Okay, I want to use Claude, and then say, well, you need to submit a ticket, right? So you have a policy that you need to submit a ticket, and then the ticket, the IT will vet this model, whether we could use it or not. Do we have security to safeguard our organization? If it does, then you present to the AI governance committee for approval. So that's the kind of process. This is an example. It could be anything. It depends on your organization, right? So we need to invest in cybersecurity talent. That's why we all need you, and that's why I think the Future conference is so useful for us doing the security work. So we need to invest in our talent. AI solves some low-level problems, but it's not replacement of a skilled professional. Senior cybersecurity engineer, for example, right? You're not going to use AI to replace them. Only AI can screen and triage and then let this senior agent to decide what to do, what the action to take. Some of them we can cut off the access of the compromised device temporarily, and then let the senior engineer to look at it, right? And every organization is different, so you need to create unique vulnerability that will only experience human can identify. So the AI agent may be a standard kind of measure to see what is normal, what's not normal, but for your organization, maybe employees can do certain things that you think that they're okay to do, right? Not that dangerous. And then so the action item will be upskill existing security team on AI tools, because that's the very important thing. So we have security teams that are very good, but AI is changing, so we need to update them so they keep themselves very good. And you can recruit hybrid roles, cybersecurity analysts, and with this security-focused data scientists, just for example. Those are hybrid roles. They do certain things. For example, they're EHR analysts, but they're also EHR security. They specialize in their area. So the Security Operation Center will be proactive with AI-assisted threat hunting. So we basically not wait until the attacker did some damage or compromised an account. We look for things that they're trying to. If they're trying to access this account from Russia, for example, multiple times, so we know this may be account that has been leaked to the dark web, and they have your information. At least we know that, so we can pay attention. Maybe this user should change password. It doesn't even impact our organization yet. It's not even attack, right? But fail login is one of the attacks, and there are other things too. So continuous education. This conference, one of the good example of continuous education. We need to improve. We're always learning. So we always share in this conference. Everybody share their ideas, and we learn from each other. So that's another action item. So the emerging trends, what's next? Well, shadow AI, we already talked about that. So people spit up their AI model, or they copy and paste to ChatGPT, and so those we need to secure it. And now there's AI model that can secure this copy and paste thing. If you copy company privilege information and paste it in ChatGPT, which not allowed, we only allow enterprise AI models, right? So if you copy and paste to a not authorized model, it will tell you, no, you can't do that, because AI is learning from your policy and say, we don't allow that. So AI Power Security Operations Center. So we already talk about that, proactiveness, threat hunting, and not wait until you are attacked. That will be too late. And, it's going so fast. We can't keep up with the attack. So we will be slower and they will be faster. AI security agents. Well, you have agents doing your work, daily work, right? You provision the agent, privilege and all that. They can do things for you automatically without an employee to do it. So they have no vacation, no sick leave, nothing. They just work 24/7. But we need to have AI security agent to detect their behavior, make sure they are doing their work. Asset inventory. So some unknown cloud and SaaS, software product asset that some of them we don't know. So we need to use AI to discover them. So we can have actually 10% of the asset may be unaccounted for on average. Regulatory acceleration. Well, by my research, thinking that we might have something. Europe already had an AI Act, but I think 18 to 24 months, 1.5 years, 2 years, we might have something. But as I talked before, we don't want to wait for the federal government. We need to safeguard ourselves. So that's why we need to develop internal AI governance and AI policies. So key takeaway for today, if you get all those things, AI is transforming both sides of cybersecurity, the hacker and us, security teams. And so we must leverage the AI power tools to prevent the attack. Vendor security is very seriously. 70% of them are third parties. So we need to go back to our office and think about when we have a vendor, and the organizations have so many departments, and they, I like this software, HR says, and finance, I like this software, but IT need to vet those vendors. So you can, if you don't have time to do that, excuse me, it's okay, because you can do it yourself, actually, those research, right? You Google the company, see what kind of policy they have and all that. You can outsource to a vendor if you have a small security team. Most companies have small team. I do have a small team, so I outsource some of the functions. So not always cost effective internal team, but it is a trade-off. Governance framework, HIPAA, NIST. So these must be implemented and follow, including the agentic AI, data poisoning, model manipulation, all those things. We must implement this framework to safeguard us. Human talent remains irreplaceable. And that's why I stress that we, in the security world, need to learn continuously. And of course, you do your own training, but the conference is one way to share with each other. That's very important. And the regulatory framework might come, and I don't see any agreement out there. And those people in Congress, they don't know security, and so we don't rely on them to safeguard our environment. These are some of the references. So if you're interested in any particular topic, I can send it to you. If you need the slide deck, you can contact me after the conference, and we can learn together. So here's my contact information. You can scan the QR code and connect with me and request slide deck or ask me a question about something. I have all the references there. I can just shoot you the link. You can do it yourself because those are large amount of research. So any questions? I think we want to eat. So, if you have any question, you can ask.
Wait for the microphone.
Thank you. You mentioned in your action items about recruiting hybrid roles, specifically AI security analysts and security-focused data scientists. Is this something that you've seen or are doing at the moment, or is this something that's more so of an idea that you think would be good moving forward?
Yeah, I've seen those, those roles. So in the healthcare, I don't know about other industry. In the healthcare industry, we have some, we have EHR teams. So we might have a EHR analyst, which know the software, know how doctor document, and they also can do the security piece. Not the high level one, but they're kind of basic, so save you a lot of money. You don't have to hire another expensive security engineer. Good for you guys, because you're doing cybersecurity. It's very high demand, very expensive. So good that you're in this cybersecurity field. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So if an organization were to implement one governance control, what would that be?
Governance? You mean governance?
AI governance control.
Oh, okay. Governance, are you talking about AI governance, right? Yeah, how an organization govern, right? Is that right? That your question? Yeah, so my advice as far as governance is that we need to have our organizational, internal governance. Don't wait for the government. So HIPAA, those are HR, those who's been here for 30 years or 40 years, right? the EHR system. So they have government regulation. We implement secure administrative safeguard, physical safeguard, and technical safeguard. So those are required. But the AI is a whole new thing. Nobody knows how to safeguard AI right now. The Congress is talking about it, and these people are talking about it, but nobody has a solution. So I would recommend your organization come up with an AI governance body. It doesn't have to be called committee or council, whatever. And then you establish the policies. You approve the AI policy. So when an employee requests something, you don't have to be the bad guy. You say, well, the policy need to be approved. I mean, the AI model need to be approved by this committee. So you just do your study from your AI, from your IT perspective, and bring it to the committee to get approval. So I hope I'm not sure to answer your question, but any other follow-up questions? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you so much.